Hey, what's going on, everyone? We are taking a look at some Reddit posts today, seeing if we can answer some of these drivers' questions and give out some advice if need be. All right, let's go. All right, so this poster says in All right, so this poster says in CDLA school, I'm just not getting it. Okay, so let me preface. I just completed my second day doing range skills for CDL training, but anytime I get into the truck, my mind blanks completely. I get so disoriented, nothing makes sense despite following the directions I'm supposed to. Getting in a semi feels like a whole different world. Everything is counterintuitive and I lose all sense of direction. Like I can't even do a straight line back without getting all cockeyed. My instructor thinks it's so easy to just correct the drift and straighten things out, but it's just not that easy for me. I constantly feel overwhelmed every time I step into that damn truck. I'm not really sure what the point of this post is. Perhaps sympathy, advice, tough love. I'm notorious for quitting things early on in the process, and I don't want to do that here. Hey, it's very common to get disoriented, especially your first couple of times in a truck, just because everything is kind of backwards, especially when you're backing up. You have to turn the wheel to a certain direction to make the trailer do something completely different, and it does kind of mess up your mind a little bit. So there's a bunch of different ways of explaining how to move the steering wheel to get the trailer to do what you want it to do, but the best advice that I had ever got was anytime the trailer is going into a specific mirror, turn the wheel towards that mirror to get it to go the other way. So basically you want to use the steering wheel to scare the trailer out of that mirror and move it into the other mirror. So I'll show you what I mean. So I know this isn't a mirror, this is a camera in one of these fancy trucks, but you can see that the trailer is definitely in this mirror more than it would be in the other. So if you want the trailer to go the other way, you turn your steering wheel towards this mirror and the trailer will go the opposite direction. Outside of that, the best advice I can give to back straight is just to do quarter turns when you're backing up. This way it's moving nice and slowly if you got the room for it. If not, it doesn't hurt to take a pull up and move the truck back slowly but surely. Don't overcorrect and be moving the steering wheel all the way to one side or the other. That's very rarely useful, especially when doing a straight back. You're going to end up messing yourself up even more. And once you're so far in that direction, it takes longer to get the steering wheel back in the other direction to correct it, and then you get all kinds of confused. All right, buddy, that's it for the advice that I got on this one, but overall, experience is the best teacher. The longer you sit behind the wheel and do it, the better off you're going to be. Just get the experience that you need to be able to accomplish these maneuvers with ease. It'll get to a certain point where you're not even thinking about it anymore, you're just kind of doing it. All right, so we're on to the next one. This one is called Pastime. Been driving over the road for a month now. What are some of the things you guys do to pass time while you're driving? Any suggestions are welcome. For those of you who listen to podcasts, who do you recommend? Anything helps. So in this one, there's a bunch of different stuff you can do to pass the time, even going back to like childish games of find something on the road that starts with the letter A. And you find a apple tree, and then you go on to the next letter, find something that starts with B, brick wall, and you just go on down the line, keeping your mind occupied. Other things that you can do with using technology, obviously, is to listen to music. That's a great one. I spent the last several years that I've been trucking diving back into older music and trying to learn music that I wasn't accustomed to, whether it be some jazz stuff or some old classic rock and roll. That I'd never been exposed to. So I took the time to deep dive into some specific artist and find different artists that I enjoy listening to. And anytime you get a new suggestion, just start diving into that artist while you're driving down the road. Podcasts are another great option. Obviously, the number one star in podcasting is Joe Rogan, but it depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for true crime, if you're looking for other stuff, just Google things that you're interested in and a podcast version of that. Another thing that I enjoy while I'm driving down the road is listening to audiobooks. I found several that I enjoy listening to. It helps you when you're going down the road to have something occupying your mind other than just zoning in on the road, because it can become more of a hazard to be zoned in completely to where you're kind of blacking out and tunnel visioning and just getting down the road. You lose sight of everything around you. If you have something else entertaining you while you're driving, it's definitely helpful. I've even gone as far to listen to TV shows while I'm driving, not watching them. Let me be clear, not watching the TV shows. But if I have a 34-hour reset, I'll start a sitcom or something and learn the main characters' voices and just, turn on the TV show and listen to the voices and the characters, and you start to get the hang of what their voices sound like, and you can pick up what's going on. It's similar to like an audiobook or a podcast in that regard. But overall, the main priority is getting down the road. So if anything becomes a distraction to you where you can't focus on the road, turn it off, get down the road. And if you can't stay attentive to the road and other stuff, I definitely don't recommend doing it. Keep it simple and just listen to some music. All right, buddy. Hope that helps. All right, so this driver's going through Washington State for the first time and worried about his weight on his axles. Based off of this, you got your steer axle at 10,780 pounds, you're good there. Drive axle, 30,020 pounds, you're good there. Trailer axle, 34,400 pounds. You're 400 pounds over on your trailer axle, but your gross weight is well under your 80,000 pounds. So either A, they've loaded you in a way where most of the weight is towards the back and it's causing a problem and they should probably reload it. Another option is to slide your tandems. It's about 200 pounds for every hole that's on the tandem slide. If you're all the way back, you might have some issues with bridge laws, but overall, I don't think DOT is really going to give you that hard of a time over 400 pounds. If you can, I would suggest moving the weight to your drive axle to where it's 34,400 on your drive axle, because a lot of states will give you a credit for having an APU on the truck. All right, so for starters on this one's pretty funny with a hurricane coming up. You got a flatbed driver strapping down his house so it don't go nowhere. That's pretty funny. So this one says, at what point? So I have 2 months CDLA experience driving a semi-truck with a 53-foot dry van. If you were in my shoes, when would you start applying to better paying jobs? So with only having 2 months of experience, your options are going to be really limited. You're probably not going to get a better deal where you're at right now. The next benchmark that you want to get to is 6 months experience. And at that point, you should see a couple of more options opening up. But after that, your next goal is a year. So once you get to a year, most all over-the-road companies will accept you and you can move down the road. That pay all depends on cents per mile, whether you're doing percentage, whether you're doing a daily rate, and also how many miles they're giving you. So if you're getting 75 cents a mile, which is kind of crazy to start with, but they're only giving you 1,000 miles a week, it really doesn't pan out. So always ask if they're going to give you the miles that you need. So I would be looking for anywhere from 2,500 to 3,000 miles a week. That's a good, solid, strong work week. After that year mark, you're looking for 2 years. At 2 years, 90% of all companies will accept you. That's local, regional, over the road. Most companies will accept you. The only side step from that is specialized fields like flatbed, tanker, anything with doubles and triples. Some of those want a little bit more experience, and specifically experience in that specific niche. And finally, you're looking for that 3-year tier. And once you get to having 3 years of experience as a truck driver, you start vetting the companies more than the companies are vetting you. As long as you keep your driving record clean, you should be in the clear. So you can be a lot more picky and choosy on which companies you're going to go work for. Whether, they have better trucks, better equipment, better pay, better home time. You can be a lot more picky and choosy once you're at 3 years of experience with a nice clean record. All right, buddy. Hope that helps you. All right, so this one says, looking for a job. I tried all major carriers. They said no because of an accident where a tire blew out and I hit a guardrail. I pulled up my MVR, but there are no accidents on it. I have 7 months experience. Anyone have any advice? So that one was written a little bit rough, but nevertheless, 7 months experience. Again, we're looking at a situation where you're kind of right at that threshold where there's only a few companies that are going to give you the experience. I don't know if the company that you were working for ended up firing you for that accident, but if you did blow a tire and it caused you to get into a guardrail, hopefully that's explainable. But along with the MVR, what you need to look for is your PSP report. And that's going to report a lot more than what your regular MVR is going to report. But if companies are giving you a hard time about it and it's not on your MVR, personally, I'd recommend just forgetting that it happened and leaving it off of your application. If they find it, they find it. Give your explanation of what happened, but don't self-incriminate. If they're not going to do the searching up on you that they need to do, it's not your responsibility to inform them of that, especially if it's not on your MVR. But like I said, 7 months, you're going to be hard-pressed to find anything. The best bet you can do if you're still having trouble, if you're leaving it off your record, is to wait it out. It takes time for those things to start falling off your record or not having as much impact on your record. Anybody else that's driving, I definitely recommend having lawyers on standby if you get a ticket, if you get into an accident, if you get a bad inspection. All of that stuff can be fought in court. Don't admit to anything. Don't apologize for anything. Take your tickets, take your slap on the wrist or whatever you're getting, and deal with fighting it in the courts. All right, buddy. Hope that helps. Hey, if you have any questions or need advice on anything, feel free to leave it in the comment section down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. All right, bye.